Okay, so first off, I'm not sure who's actually doing level 1 for February, or you plan to do level 1 exam, but you haven't decided when you're going to take, or whether you're a level 1 exam candidate for the December exam. Okay, so if you are, if you can, feel free to just leave a message there. Maybe you are not even taking the CFA program, is fine. At least at least I know how to approach the session, or at least I can target the session to your needs. Okay, so it'll be a more meaningful result for all of us. Okay, so in any case, this session will be more focused towards the CFA Level 1 exam, and how specifically to a candidate who is going to take the exam in February. Okay, but of course, it's also applicable to those who just want to take the 2021 exam. Okay, but I'm focusing more on February first. Later on, you can extend it to 2021. Okay, so great. I have those. Okay, so there are those who taking level 1. Okay, then we have those taking level February. Yeah, of course. Yeah, there's a fee to reschedule, so you have to watch out for that. So we'll talk about that shortly. Great. Oh, hi, Victor. Hi, yeah, here. Okay, so we'll start. Okay, so feel free to just drop a message in the chat box. I'll monitor it as we go along. Right now, of course, let's start there. Okay, let me just. So of course, there's if you count from now until the exam in February next year, there's about 160 days, 159 days to go. Okay, so if you're thinking about taking the February exam, there is still time to go about. Okay, but again, there is no rush. There's going to be 4 sessions of level 1 next year. Okay, so if you can, it's up to you to decide what is a more comfortable time, that is where you are not too busy and you can find time to study and prepare. Okay, you will also need to factor in when you plan to do level 2 and 3. Okay, because when you do your level 1 exam, then if you pass your level 1 exam, you can't do the next exam in 6 months, within a 6 months period. So you have to watch out for that. Okay, but I'll talk about that as we go along. So first off, I'm the Director of Teaching and Learning at Norway. We are one of the prep providers in Malaysia and Singapore, and also Vietnam. We do have students from Indonesia and Australia as well, and some in the US. Although they are taking the online mode from us. Okay, but our face-to-face class is in Malaysia. Okay, now. Of course, I lecture in most of the programs. I used to teach all the 3 levels in the CFA program. Okay, but now I focus mostly on level 2 and 3. Okay, I focus more on level 2 and 3 now. Okay, although I still from time to time I will mentor students who are in the level 1 as well. Right, so just to grab quickly, we do offer a lot of programs. Okay, not only CFA but also other programs from for accounting, for marketing, and also HR. Okay, so our business, our model is all on professional qualifications. So I myself, I focus on the CFA program. Okay, so just to create some awareness on Novices. Okay, all right. So of course, the 2021 exam. Okay, there's February. Okay, there's February. Besides February, there is also May. Okay, and also August, and also November. Okay, starting 2021 onwards, it's all computer based. Okay, so you can actually, there's a lot of sessions, so you don't have to feel stressed. In the past, candidates can only choose June and December. Okay, but now you have February, you have May, August, and November. And this is spread out over like 7 days to 10 days window where you can select when you want to schedule. But take note of one thing, although they give about 10 days, I think currently it's about 7 days. For the coming February, it's about 8 days. 23rd to 1st, I think it's about 7 days. Sorry, it's about 7 days. Okay, the coming window is for February is actually 23rd of February to 1st of March. But as I checked this morning, right, 1st March, 28th February, and 27th February are no longer available in Malaysia. Okay, in Malaysia. But depending on where you are located at, you need to check the CFA website for the location that you're taking the exam. Okay, and then you need to check what are the dates that are available. For Malaysia, out of the 7 days, there's only 3 days or 4 days left. So everyone took up the weekend, the Saturday, Sunday, they took it all up. So they are left with weekdays only. Okay, so just now someone mentioned they're waiting for the dates to schedule. So although yes, you may want to wait until a later point to schedule, but also watch out for the slots. Sometimes it's all first come first serve. So if everyone book early, then you may not be able to get the seats on the dates you want. So watch out for that. Okay. Some of my students, they once they enroll, they schedule. Okay, some of them are still waiting, but I asked them to keep monitoring. So there's going to be 180 questions, okay, split over 2 sessions. There is 90 in the first session, the morning session, and 90 questions in the second section. Now, the timing is a bit different now. Okay, so for the timing is they are going to give you 2 options. You're either going to go for 8 a.m. slot, or you're going to go for the 1 p.m. slot. Okay, so you choose either one of this. Okay, for that particular day, only 8 a.m. or 1 p.m. So in other words, if you do 8 a.m., okay, you will do it like 4.5 hours and be done with it. Okay, before 1 p.m. or maybe past 1 p.m. If you take 1 p.m., then it will go all the way to probably 5:30 to 6 p.m. Okay, so there are 2 slots there so that they can accommodate more students. All right, then in terms of scheduling, like I mentioned, there is this window, 7 days, but then for some locations, the dates may already be booked. So just keep watching out for that. Now, once you select a date, once you select a schedule, if you want to reschedule, there is a $250 fee. So it's 250 USD. Okay, so it's quite hefty, I would say, but it's just, of course, in a way to deter people from rescheduling. But if you need to, then you have to pay that fee. Okay. As of now, I don't see that they are expanding the number of locations. Maybe later on, if there is demand, they will increase the number of test centers. Okay, but they report that they do have 400 plus locations there. So we shall see on that. So each session, right, will be 2 hours and 15 minutes, okay, or 2.25 hours. And in between, you can there's an optional 30 minutes break. If you don't want to take the break, you can just continue to the next session and go straight to it. Okay, so I guess for some people, they feel that they may want a short break, then they will go for that 30 minutes break. Okay, so for level 1, it's all MCQ. Okay, and the good thing, one thing I like about the exam being computer-based is you don't have to shade. Okay, in the past, in the current system where it's paper-based, every time you go through the question, when you select an answer, you have to shade it straight away on a piece of paper. Okay, the paper would have 3 circles for every question. Basically, you will have A, you will have B, and you will have C for every question. And then you have to shade the right answer. And when you shade, you have to like shade it properly so that the whole circle is filled, but then you can't really like circle outside the thing. Okay, so because they have to scan it through the machine. But now with the computer-based exam, you just select an answer, you click, that's it. Okay, you're done. All right, and then you can also flag the question. If you feel that you're not sure about this question, you can always click flag. You can always flag it so that it appears as a red color or a different color. So later on, once you're done, you can actually review back and go back to that question. Okay, so it's quite, in a way, I would say it's more efficient and it's quite easier, I would say. Okay, but some people do tell me that they're still used to the paper-based version. Okay, but there's no choice. There's no more paper-based after December, so we have to adapt to it. Okay, so of course, if you're going for the level 1 in February, if you pass level 1, okay, let's say you pass level 1, they will give the result probably in a shorter period now. It'll be faster, but we don't know how fast yet. Maybe 4 weeks. Okay, then you'll be able to register for the August level 2 exam in the same year. Okay, you can do August. This is the earliest you can do. If you don't want to do in 21, you can do in February 2022. This is the next session. If you don't do August, then the next one is February 2022. Okay, for level 2. This is the next window. So it's up to you whether you want to be quick or whether you want to take your time. Okay, you have a choice there. If you fail level 1, you can't immediately take May. They won't allow you to retake it immediately. So you will lose May, and then you can only go for August. Okay, you can only go for May in August itself. So there is something to watch out for as well. Okay, but at least you are still able to take level 1 twice a year. Okay, that's the main thing. You can still take level 1 twice a year, not 4 times a year. Okay, every time you take an exam, there is a 6 months gap between the exams. All right, so any questions up to this point? If you have any questions, feel free to raise it up. Okay, I will answer it as you go about. Okay, so I got some questions here. Sorry, I just opened up the chat box. Yeah, so yes, correct. Julong, the fee is USD, so I corrected that. Okay, for what day is not available? Just now I answered. Hopefully you got it. So from, let me just check. So from 23rd, let me show this to you. So if you look at this calendar that I'm sharing here, right, it's from 23rd to actually 1st of March. When I check it this morning, 23rd to 25th is still available. 26 to 26, I think 26 February to 1st, yeah, 26 February. Oh, sorry, I think it was, yes, just to recap, I think Saturday, Sunday, 27 February, 28 February, and 1st of March is already taken. Okay, so you have, I mean, this is the for Malaysia lah. Malaysia, there's only two exam centers in KL. Okay, and for these two exam centers, I only see 23rd, 24th, and 25th. All right, so yeah, so okay, are the CPT providers accredited? They actually outsource. The exams to this a very popular exam center. It's called Prometric. Okay, there's always either Pearson VUE or Prometric, but they contracted this to Prometric. Okay, they are quite established in terms of offering exams via online. Okay, so question here is, are we able to sit for prep class for August 2021 exam in time if I take February? Yes. Okay. Yes. So you can. I mean, if you take February and let's say for Julong's question, when you say, are we able to sit for the prep class for August 2021 exam in time for level 2 or for level 1? If you are saying for level 2, right? If you pass February, then yes, I would say there's still time for level 2 August. Okay, but provided, I would advise that if you're sure that you're going to go for level 2, if you pass, I recommend that once you finish the February exam, start studying. Don't wait for your results to come out. Okay, because we're not sure yet when the results will be out. It could be like probably 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or 4 weeks, that kind of timeline. But I advise you to start studying once the level 1 exam is over. Maybe like give yourself 1 week break, but then after that start studying. Okay, it's a bit tight, but still possible. Okay, Jiaqin here, if I fail August, we are not allowed to take November. Yeah, you're not allowed to take November. So let's say if you fail August for, let's say, level 1, then you can only take level 1 again in February. Okay, February 2022. So watch out for that gap there. Okay, Victor. Okay, so normally what happens is that for CBT, they should be able to have the result immediately. Now, with our experience with other qualifications that do it computer-based, right? Sometimes they may want to vet through the results, okay, or at least compare it against a benchmark before they release the results. This is a standard practice for other professional qualifications. Okay, although I understand in your mind, right, the answer should be the correct answer should be there. The computer should be able to calculate immediately and give the score. Yes, that's true. But they may have to compare it or scale it. That one we're not sure yet. But usually they don't really confirm right away. Okay. So yeah, Julong will take level 2. Oh yes. So okay. So coming back to that part, for level 2, yes, you will have to study right after the level 1 exam. I here will draft paper be provided. They will give, okay, their standard practice is they won't give the A4 paper. What they will give you is usually a whiteboard. It's usually a small whiteboard about A4 size. They'll give you a marker and then you will write on the whiteboard. It's either a whiteboard or a transparent sheet where you will write and then you can use a tissue or eraser, the whiteboard eraser to rub it off. Okay, so that is how they will give you that is how you do your rough work. Okay, so in the old days, in the paper-based exam, you can write on the question paper, but now they won't give you draft paper. They will give you whiteboard or transparent sheet with a marker. Now, Julong starts about 6 months, so not sure will allow me to. We normally, I mean, like, let's say from Norway's perspective, we do. I mean, if students want to enroll, what happens is that we will allow them to enroll, okay? Then, and of course, they will make the payment. But of course, if, let's say you fail, okay, let's say if you fail level 1, and then we will let you take level 1, we will let you take the level 1 prep. Okay, but if you're not sure, you can you can think about it. You may want to self-study before you come in, because we do offer the blended online mode. So the lecture videos will be made available, but then the tutorial classes, the live tutorial classes, won't happen so soon. There will still be some time, let's say 1 month, let's say March or April, then we will start the tutorial. Tutorial is when we do questions, but that is after the students have viewed the videos. So technically, you still have time. Okay, if you really want to confirm that you can wait for your results. Okay, but from the prep provider side, we will allow you to enroll. Okay. So of course, we hope you pass also lah. I mean, so you can continue. All right. So yeah, if there's any question, just keep it coming in. So I'll just answer as we go, so that you all get the reply real time. Okay. Now, next part, of course, total testing time will be 4.5 hours. Okay, I mentioned earlier that's the two times the 2.25 hours. So that's total 4.5 hours of exam. They will allocate an extra hour for you to there will be half an hour before the exam start for you to do all the necessary prep. Like you have to check your equipments, your calculator, to sign the candidate pledge, okay, to do all the checking, the tutorial before the exam starts. Okay, so that's what the 30 minutes before each session is for. Now, regarding the earlier part, faster results release, usually they take about 6 weeks. The old traditional format is about 6 weeks, but I'm guessing it could be out in maybe 2 weeks, 2 weeks or 3 weeks. I would say it's half. It should be half the time. Okay, they have not the CFA has not committed to any timeline yet, but I guess it wouldn't take longer than 3 weeks. Okay, or max 4 weeks. Though that's the worst, but I think they can do 3 weeks for level 1. Okay, so you should be able to see your result. But let's see what happens in come February. Now, so each of the question has equal scoring, so you don't have to worry about getting it wrong and then getting your marks deducted. So it's a very fair exam. Just answer, if you're not sure, just answer as well. Take a calculated guess. Now, something new. Not something to be worried about is that within the 180 questions, right, there will be 20 questions which are what they call experimental. Okay, sometimes they want to try out new format questions, something that is different from ordinary. Not to say they are very difficult or anything, it's just a different style of asking question probably. So we call those pre-testing questions. Okay, and these questions basically carry 0 marks. Okay, they carry 0 marks, and candidates will not be able to identify it. Okay, but I'm just letting you know that there are such experimental questions. Okay, it's just for them to check if such questions are doable, or is it too difficult, or can candidates score it right. Okay, you won't know what these are, so you just have to do it as if it's a full exam. Okay, now, so all questions will come directly from curriculum. That's what CFA has committed to. So they will not refer to any third-party provider to set the exams. Okay, so the best resource is always the official curriculum. Okay, but there are pros and cons to it, as I'll talk about that later during the preparation phase. Yes, so for the exam format, I will talk about it shortly, but yes, there will be a different sequence to it now. It will be mixed, okay, but it's not like the old paper-based exam, right? So, okay, here comes. Okay, so this is a new exam layout or the exam format. Okay, so in the past, okay, for level 1, there are 10 topic areas. Okay, there are 10 topic areas, and what happens is that these 10 topic areas will appear in the morning and in the afternoon session. Okay, you will see the 10 and the 10 both in the morning and afternoon. But for the computer-based exams, it's no longer the same. Okay, so what they will do is in the morning session, okay, the first 2 hours and 15 minutes, you will have ethics, okay, one section. And then second section will be investment tools. So investment tools will comprise of quantitative methods, the stats, the future value, present value topic, economics, okay, and financial reporting and analysis. So they call these investment tools. Now, what you need to keep in mind here is, although when you come to this section, right, it will be called investment tools, but then there will be no sequence to the question. In other words, they will mix it up. Okay, they will mix up these three topics. So the first question could be economics. The second question will be quants. The third question could be economics. Fourth question could be financial reporting. So basically, it will be jumbled up. It will be jumbled up. Okay, this is very different from the old format. In the old format, which is the paper-based format, they will actually put the questions in a very nice sequence. They will always label, okay, question 1 to 19, okay, question 1 to 18 is ethics. Question 19 to 32 is quants, and so on and so forth. So students could actually pick which section they want to start off with. Okay, but with the computer-based format, this advantage no longer exists. Okay, you don't have this advantage anymore because the questions are all over the place within that section. Okay, so just take note of that part. It will be shuffled within the section. Now, once you finish the morning session, you will of course start the afternoon section, and of course once you go to the afternoon session, you can't move back to the morning session. It is, I mean, we all know that. Okay, it is to of course prevent you from cheating during the interval. Okay, but just take note that you can't go back to the morning session once you're done with it. So in the afternoon session, there will be one section on corporate finance and portfolio management. As of this part, they didn't mention whether they will shuffle it or not because this is not within a section. It could be two different parts, okay? One section for corporate finance, so just purely corporate finance, and the other section is purely portfolio management. Okay, we'll talk about the weights shortly. Then for investment assets, this is another section where it covers these four topics, okay? Equity, fixed income, derivatives, and alternative investments. So again, all these four can be jumbled up, can be shuffled within this section. So you never know what will come first. It could be fixed income, it could be derivatives, okay, or equity, okay? So to answer Julong's question just now, right, okay, the topics will be mixed up only within these investment assets, and investment tools. Okay, other than that, ethics will just be ethics. They won't mix it up. Corporate finance will just be corporate finance, and portfolio management will just be portfolio management. Okay, it's very clear cut. Okay, it's only within this part they will mix it up. They'll mix it up. Okay, so that's the exam layout for level 1. Okay, as of now for level 2 and 3, they didn't give any indication yet. We are still waiting for them to give us a sample of how they're going to test it. Okay, so that's the exam layout. All right, so on to the weights. Okay, so weights wise for 2021, the weights are no longer a fixed percentage in the like in the past. Okay, it's going to be a range. Okay, and ethics will usually carry the largest weight. Okay, one of the heavy, we call it the heavy weight. So it's like 15 to 20% of the 180 questions. So if it's like, it could be 15% of 180 or 20% of 180. So that means if it's 20% of 180, you're looking at 36 questions in total. Okay, and that's quite a lot. Okay, so and then of course, then you have quants. Okay, quants is 8 to 12%. The next one after ethics, the heavyweight is FRA. So students usually don't like it. Okay, to be honest, no one likes financial reporting. Mainly because they come from a non-accounting background. So they really hate it when they have to learn these accounting standards, but you can't run away from it. Okay, ethics is fairly easy, I would say, because it's mostly application. You need to know what is right and what is wrong in terms of when you apply the standards of the professional conduct. Then after that, the big ones are like equity and fixed income. Okay, that's 10 to 12%, and then followed by quants and economics that can be 8 to 12%. Okay, and then the small ones. Okay, of course, corporate finance has equal weight. I mean, like 8 to 12% as well. Okay, and then derivatives and alternatives and portfolio. These are the smallest one. Okay, 5 to 8%. Okay, but so they have different readings. Readings means chapters in CFA syllabus. One reading means one chapter. So of course, the largest reading will be in financial reporting. There's 12 readings there. And the total syllabus will be 57 in total. So if you count from now until February, okay, or until January, you will have to finish 57 readings. Okay, and depending on what materials you use, okay, you could you could eat up a lot of your time. So we'll talk about materials shortly. What type of materials should you use if you are self-studying or if you are using a prep provider? Okay, so we give you that. I mean, you can consider from different aspects. So if you have any questions to ask about the weightage, do let me know. Okay, but these are basically the weightage multiplied by 180 questions. Okay, these are the weightage that you have to follow. So they no longer follow a fixed percentage, it's a range now. So CFA will have more flexibility when they pull out the question from their question bank. Okay, I believe they will have a question bank that is huge enough for them to generate each exam. Okay, so when you sit for the exam, the person next to you will probably be taking some other exams, a different set. Okay, a different set of questions. That's the experience we have from computer-based exams. All right, so in terms of how much time to spend, okay, so they've done a survey before. So averagely it takes about 300 hours or above for the level 1 candidate. Okay, but this is just an average, average for the overall. Okay, it can take more. You may need more hours if you are from non-finance or non-accounting background. Okay, or if you have basically like you don't really like finance but you want to pick up CFA, then yes, you need to spend more time. Okay, we do have people coming from IT, computer science background, or even we have from those taking pharmacy, music. Okay, they need to spend considerably more time. Okay, it requires more effort. It's quite tedious, but then if you can last through, then of course you will be able to get through the levels. Okay. So of course, this is inclusive of all the time where it includes self-studying. It includes if you go to a prep provider, it's all in. Okay, so that's the average time needed. You may need less. Okay, if you come from a finance background or accounting background, you could spend less than 300 hours. Okay, so it depends on your prior knowledge. Okay, but having said that, if you let's say if you graduated like 10 years ago, then of course you may not really remember a lot of the things you studied last time. So do take that into consideration as well. Okay, so I will always advise students to give themselves at least 6 months. 6 months is comfortable. Okay, if not at least 4 months. Okay, at least 4 months that would be just nice. Okay, so even from now, from September, you are in mid-September now, so you are looking at about maybe 3 months, 4 months to exam. Okay, so it's quite tight but doable. Okay, now, so in terms of what resources is usually used by candidates, most of them will use the official curriculum, which comes together with the exam fees. Okay, you'll get a soft copy of all the textbooks. Okay, and of course it's very voluminous, very lengthy, but also very good material in terms of information. Then you also get 2 more exams provided by the CFA Institute. So this is part of your exam fee. So if you are self-studying, do take note that there are these resources that you can use. Okay, even if you don't sign up with a prep provider, these are free materials for you to use. Two more exams. Now, there are people who, of course, rely on non-CFA Institute prep materials, like, for example, with Noesis, we will give students our own set of notes, which is summarized from the curriculum. So we only take out the important key points so that you know what to focus on. Okay, and then after you go through the notes and the lecture, then you go for you do a lot of questions to master the concept. Now, apart from the online mock exams that provided by CFA, there is also the online practice questions. This is also part of your exam fees. So it's like a Q bank that CFA provides to candidates. Okay, and you probably will find hundreds of questions there for each reading. Okay, now in the textbook, we have what we call this EOC. You will see this term regularly with candidates. They call it EOCs, which is end of chapter questions. But here they call it end of reading. Okay, it's the same thing. Basically, at the end of every chapter, there are some questions for you to practice on. Okay. Now, study group. For myself, from my own experience, I usually I tried to set up a study group back in my days when I did level 1. I was quite, I mean, the young guy trying to like, form study groups and trying to build a network. But I usually find it's quite hard to focus because from my own study style, I prefer to either study myself or I prefer to have someone tell me and then I will just learn. Okay, but I don't function well in a group where there is 5-6 people and then we are each studying. Okay, I don't find it effective. Okay, but you may find it different. Okay, so go with your own style. If you are used to study group, then do it. Okay. Then others, okay, this very small percentage. Okay. Now, okay, so how should you prepare if you are going for February? Okay, the what do you call this? The level 1 exam is still open for registration, although now it's at the highest, the last tier. So if you are signing up, you are probably going to pay like quite a hefty fee. Let me just go through the fee first. So currently you're in the last window. Okay, this is before 3rd November. So if you do sign up with the CFA Institute, you will have to pay a one-time fee of 450 US dollar. And then there is an exam registration fee of 1,000 US dollar, okay, for a total of 1,450. So what this includes is that it includes the exam fee, it includes the soft copy of the textbook, okay, it includes the mock exams, okay, the Q bank, the online practice questions, okay. So all this is included in this fee, okay. And if you choose to take classes from other prep providers, there will be additional fee to consider. So it's up to your budget how you plan to go through the CFA program. If you want a hard copy of the textbook, then you can pay an additional 150, okay, plus shipping. Shipping, when I order the books to Malaysia, I usually pay about 20 US dollar, okay? So just take note of that part. So for level 2 and 3, yes, you only pay 700 or 1,000 depending on the timing, okay? So you don't pay the 450 anymore. 450 is just the very first time when you enroll as a exam candidate. Okay, so that's you just pay either 700 or 1,000. All right. So let's go back to the free IFT. Okay, Sayantan. Okay, IFT does I mean there are a few providers that do post the free videos there. I would say yes, I've heard people using IFT. I haven't really gone through their videos. So I can't really say they're good or bad, but I haven't heard of bad feedbacks from people. So if you're self-studying, yes, you can use it as something like before you start reading, you can go through the videos. If you go through the videos and then you try to do questions, okay? My way of testing whether the materials are good is if you go through the videos and you are able to do the questions, then you're fine. Then you're good. Then the video is good. You can just keep to the videos. Okay, so use that as a yardstick. But let's say if you go through the video and then you still somehow cannot answer the questions either in the online practice questions or in the what do you call this, the Q bank, then probably there are some parts that are not covered in the IFT video. Okay, so you may want to read the textbook on those parts. Okay, there are I mean it's a free resource, of course, try to make use of it. Okay, nothing wrong there. Okay, so of course, coming back to the preparation part. So from now until the exam day on February, right? So what I usually recommend is try to complete all your studying by at least 1 month, before the exam. Okay, the final month should be left for revision. So let's say if you are studying now or studying from tomorrow onwards, right, until let's say 24th January, which is 1 month before the exam, you will have to complete 57 readings. And from now until 24th January, you have about 128 days. So that means you have about 2.25 days to complete one reading. Okay, and that's provided you really have time to read every day. So just take this as an average. Okay, so try to attempt every time after you complete a reading, maybe if you can, you go directly and try and practice the questions. If not, you leave it maybe like 2-3 days later, then you try to do some of the questions. Okay, but usually I recommend doing it immediately or a day after reading so that it's still fresh and you can see whether you can retain the information, whether you can apply. Okay, if you're done with the EOCs, you can go over to the online practice questions that are provided by the CFA Institute. Okay, and one thing that I have to emphasize here is that try to use your financial calculator wherever you can. Whenever you have the opportunity to apply it, try to use your calculator. Okay, there's a Texas BA2 Plus and there's a HP12C. Only these two calculators are allowed in the exam. Don't try to bring calculators from other models like maybe Canon or Casio. Don't use those. Okay, you can't use scientific calculators as well. So you can only use these approved calculators. Okay, so this is the Texas BA2 Plus, and then this is the Texas BA2 Plus Professional version. Okay, for myself, I find the Plus version good enough and easy to use. HP12C, not kind of my liking. Okay, I'm not used to it. Okay, so I've been using the Texas BA2 Plus since level 1 days, and I find it really, really easy to use. But if you already have a HP12C, then you don't need to waste money to buy Texas BA2. You can just use whatever you have. Okay. Now, take note that there are no formula sheets in the exam, so you will have to memorize all the formulas, like the financial ratios, okay, like all the formulas that you see in corporate finance. How do you calculate weighted average cost of capital? Okay. There are also certain things that formulas you don't have to memorize. For example, if you are trying to calculate, let's say, the future value of a cash flow, if you can memorize the formula, that's fine. If you can't, it's also okay, because the calculator has a built-in function to perform time value of money calculations. Okay, and like things like NPV or IRR, okay, these terms are related to corporate finance. All these functions can be handled by the calculator because there are functions built in for that. You just need to know how to input the cash flows correctly, then you're fine. Okay, so for those kind of things, you don't have to memorize the formula. Okay, so it all depends. You must know what you need to spend your time on and what you don't need to spend so much time on. Okay, so the only part that is stressful is when you're self-studying, and sometimes you have questions you really don't know where to ask. Okay, so of course they are if you're self-studying, there are places where you can ask questions, like you can actually go on analyst forum. Okay, it's actually a free forum for exam candidates. You can go there and post questions. Some people will reply as when they can. Okay, sometimes I will answer questions there as well if I have time. Okay, so that's a free resource that you can look up on. Okay, now in terms of allocating your time, right? Okay, this depends on your work commitment. So I'm just giving you an example how to study or how to allocate your time. So let's say from Monday to Friday, right? Okay, you have Monday to Friday, and then you have the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Okay, so let's say, assuming you have time, you are not tied down by work commitments or family commitments. So during the weekdays, of course, you don't have so much time to spend, right? So you can try to squeeze in studies if you commute. Let's say you use train or bus, public transportation. You can always do some light reading while you are commuting to work. Usually what I would recommend is maybe before work. If you're a morning person, you can wake up early to study for 1 hour before you go to work. Or you can go into office early to do some reading. Okay, but some people, they are not a morning person, so they would only be able to study after work. So maybe after work, you spend about 1 hour. Okay, typically it's about 1 hour. I think it's quite pushing it. If you can, of course, you try to hit 2 hours, but sometimes after work, you just don't have the mood for those studying. Okay, but it's a lot about perseverance. So try to spend about at least 30 minutes to 1 hour a day. It doesn't have to be one straight hour. You can try to break it into like maybe 15 minutes, small sessions, or maybe 30 minutes. Okay, try to get into the habit of covering or studying consistently. If you can push more than 1 hour, that's good. Okay, but if you can't, then at least try to make it about 1 hour. Okay, on the weekends, you can afford to spend more time. You can go from 8 hours to over 10 hours per day. Okay, but that depends on your commitment. Sometimes those people, I have students with families, so they can't really cram 8 to 10 hours of studying during weekends. It's quite hard. I've seen those that they try really, really hard to study. Okay, but they need to, if you have a family, try to communicate with them first on this. Okay, it's not easy, especially when those people, they don't understand what you're doing. They think that you're just wasting your time trying to get a piece of paper which is not useful. Okay, but they don't understand. Okay, so if you are someone with a family commitment, try to discuss it early with your family first. Okay, this is from my experience of seeing people from different backgrounds, different ages doing the CFA program. Okay, so take note of that. Get support from your family members or from your partners. Now, of course, this is what you should do. I mean, this is what I recommend. Okay, but some people, they can't really do 8 to 10 hours, so you try to see how much you can do. Okay, then for the final month, the last 30 days, usually I recommend that you just focus on revisions, focus on the mock exams. If you're self-studying, I remember there's 2 mock exams given by the CFA Institute. There's one. And then, of course, try to revise through whatever things that you can't really recall. Some students that I have, they like to do short notes. Okay, even though we give them the lecture notes, they still like to do short notes. Okay, so it's pretty much depends on your style. Do you like to do short notes, or do you just prefer to use the lecture notes, or do you prefer to read from or to buy a third-party provider material? Okay, so it depends on your budget. So in terms of the materials to use, there is the official curriculum, which is the soft copy of the textbooks, which comes with your exam fee. It's good, but it's very lengthy. There's a lot of things to read. And students, sometimes they get frustrated after reading one topic because there's too much things to read. Okay, so that's where, of course, prep providers add value, because we will filter out those things that are not important. Okay, we will just keep those important points. If you have budget, of course, you can buy third-party materials as well, like from Schweizer. You would have heard of Kaplan Schweizer or Wiley before. Their materials is they provide summarized notes as well. The only downside, okay, the only downside here is if you are a non-finance graduate or non-accounting graduate, it could be hard for you to understand the things that they're trying to say, because it's summarized. They don't provide a foundation for you. They just tell you what are the important points. That's it. Okay. Now, of course, for those who are from the finance background, when you read through, okay, of course, you will be able to grab the concept quickly. There's only one problem. Sometimes, because it's too summarized, there are things that they leave out from the curriculum. So there can be situations where, after reading through these third-party materials, you try and do a question, and then you realize that, I can't really solve this question. And that's because that part has been left out from these third-party materials. Okay, it's not their fault, but it's because of the summarized nature of the product. Okay, so just take that point in mind. It's nothing wrong. So if you decide to use these third-party materials, right, what I recommend you to do is you can read through this third-party material, okay, go through the summary, and then try to do questions. Okay, and if you encounter questions which you feel that you have not studied this before, for that particular section, search for it in the textbook. Okay, and you just maybe look for that particular portion and just take a note, and that's it, move on. Okay, so just use the textbook as a supplement instead to cover whatever things that are not covered in the third-party material. Okay, so that's my recommendation to you if you're using a third-party material. Okay, now, of course, there are the prep providers. Okay, Noesis is one of them. And also, one of the things that we are raising awareness is that there are prep providers who do, of course, help or guide students to be able to master the content. Okay, and of course, we are able to provide support in terms of answering questions that you have on the syllabus. Okay, the worst part about self-studying is that when you have problems, you have no one to ask, then you will feel frustrated, and you will feel that, okay, you could fail. Okay, so that's the part where prep providers come in. Okay, we summarize the notes. Okay, and then we will, of course, guide you until, or support you until the exam day. So that's in terms, that's the most things, that's the most important part about the preparation side. Okay, reading plus doing questions. Okay, of course, from time to time, you have to review back, because with all my students, one very obvious thing always happens. After you study a chapter, you do the questions, you are fine. But then 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, right, you suddenly can't recall what you studied a few weeks back. Okay, it's memory leakage. It's very normal that you forget things because it's the first time you are going through it. Okay, so that's why I advise you to finish your studies at least 1 month before the exam, so that during the final month you have time to refresh, to revise those earlier concepts. Okay, 30 days is a bit, it seems a bit short, but it's not that bad, because during the final month you will have more momentum, more motivation to study. Okay, so that's one thing you have to take into account. Leave a buffer before the exam day. 1 month usually is quite tight. For us, we usually try to finish our classes about 1.5 months before the exam, so that students will have time to revise on their own as well. Okay, so if you can finish about 1.5 months, if not, 1 month should be, I would say, sufficient. Okay, it's a bit tight, but still not too bad. Okay, so that's how you would do. I mean, that's the preparation part that you can do as a candidate. Okay, if you're, whether you're self-studying, or whether you want to go for a prep provider, or whether you want to buy a third-party material. Okay, there are different ways of how you can actually study. Okay, there are those who do it self-study, no issue, they can pass. Okay, there are those who require help, then they go for prep provider, nothing wrong with that as well. Okay, so these are the different things for you to consider. All right. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I mean, from the preparation side, I'm not sure if you have any questions. This is pretty much about all the things that I want to share with you, unless if you have other things to raise up. Okay, we do have our website at noasis.edu.sg. There's our website. You can check out on our course offerings there. You can write to us as well if you have any questions. The general email is info@noasis.edu.sg. Okay, and then we have a few you can like our Facebook page and follow it for more information about when we do intakes. Most of you would have found this course through my LinkedIn page. Okay, but of course, if you are not on, I mean, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. You can find my name, Fabian Moore, there. Okay, I'm always open to connect with students. I mean, some people do message me. I try my best to answer questions if there's any question that they message me directly. But this is the coming months is exam period, revision time. So I could be a bit busy, but I will still reply when I can find time for that. Okay. So, okay, now pretty much it's just for Q&A part. Do you have any questions on the exam format, or, I mean, in terms of preparation, or in terms of, I mean, how you're going, whether it's February, the session you're going for? Okay, so for those who are planning already, like quite likely to take the exam, right? Try to make sure that, let's say if you know you want to go for February, okay, make sure you try to register early and lock in your place. Okay, but one thing is, of course, the exam fee is on the higher side now. If you have not registered, you have to pay about 1,450. It's quite hefty. Okay, but if you're still planning to go for it, make sure you do it early and then schedule your dates, your exam dates. Okay, otherwise you may not get the dates that you want. Okay, if you're planning the exam booking is already available for February and May exam. For the August exam and the November exam, you can't book a schedule yet, so don't worry about those part. Okay, so it's now either February or May. Okay, so just decide on that. Okay, so of course, in terms of career prospects, a CFA program has always been a very, it's like a gold standard in the industry. If you are planning to be an analyst, or you're planning to go into corporate finance, or even to asset management, is something that is a good, very valuable qualification to have. No problem, Natalie. Okay, Jachin. Oh, hi. Okay, so I mean, it's just an information sharing session. Okay, a bit of sharing about Novasis. Okay, so yeah, I mean, hopefully that most of you have gained some information about the program, okay, how to go about, okay. It's more about during these times. Actually, last night, just a bit of sharing. Last night, CFA Institute sent an email to all the candidates who are taking the December exam. They're giving them an option to actually defer their exams to 2021. So if those people from December decide to shift or to defer their exams to 2021, right? That means those available seats in 2021 could easily be filled up. So there is also one thing to keep in mind, depending on where you are. Okay, there are people who are considering deferring their exams now because it's likely that December may not happen. Okay, so if you have decided, then lock your seats in. Okay. If you have not decided, then it's fine. I mean, just take your time to think about it. Okay. After all, the exams won't go away. Okay. Yeah. More like take May exam, so there'll be prep class. Yes, actually, prep. I mean, the intake is already open, I would say. We are currently the intake is focused on the February exam. If you want to start earlier, you can. Okay, there's no harm there. But if you're going for May, I would say it starts around yeah, it starts around January. It starts about December, January, where you can start studying. Currently, we are still aiming for February, but there are students who decide to start early. Okay, so you can think about it first. But I think you told me that you are probably in your year 3 final year now. So again, consider whether you can cope with the subjects and the I mean, if your final year project or anything. Okay, make sure the first priority is good scores, good scores in this in your what do you call this, your exams. uh Slide and recording, I will post it up on my YouTube channel later. You can find me on YouTube. I will attach slides. Let me see how I can share the slides with you guys. Okay. uh I'll just probably drop the slides here. And for the videos, you can actually find it on my YouTube channel later on. Okay, so just to drop a bit of things here. Let me just see. Uh, Probably I will have to. Okay, let me see, where did I put it? Yeah, so it's here. Okay, so it's actually here. So I'll just cut that part out. Yeah, so I'll just have to PDF up the part before I send out. Yeah, so okay, the material will be from, okay, for Julian's question, we prepare, I mean, our lecturers and I mean myself, we prepare the materials using the official curriculum. We read through the whole text, and then we will have to summarize it for the students. We do buy some materials from Schweizer, but that is more, I would say it's more supplementary for students. We keep it in our library in case students wants to view or anything, they can view it. Okay, so I've already attached the PDF of the PowerPoint slides. If you want to grab it, you can download it straight. It should be coming up shortly. Okay, so that's up. So the videos will be available on my YouTube channel later on. You can go through that. You can find me. You can find me actually on my YouTube channel. Okay, I do post free materials or free videos on my channel. You can find me there. For level 1, level 2, and level 3. Not as extensive as IFT. IFT is like giving up everything for free. For level 1. Okay. But I'm not sure how extensive their coverage is. Okay, I don't know whether they really cover everything in the syllabus or not. Okay, otherwise I can't be sure, but I definitely know it's there. Okay, also I'm also posting my things up there, but mine are more specific. They're more targeted at certain areas. Okay, so while other people may post like the whole chapter, okay, you can. YouTube is also it's also free. A free resource for candidates. Okay, just make sure that the materials that are used are the latest or the most updated ones. The biggest problem is you could be studying off videos that are only applicable for 2018 or 2017, which is like, no, it's like outdated lah, in other words. So these are the things that you have to watch out for when you use resources on on YouTube. Okay, so for my side, when I create videos, I will label them. I will label them as 2020 or 2021 so that people know that these materials are up to date. So they will feel, I mean, even though it's free, but at least you feel good. You feel more assured when you use these materials. Okay, so that's these are the things to watch out for. Free things, there are free things, but the free things are not organized in such a way that is student friendly. Okay, so watch out on that part. All right. So, do you have any other questions to ask? If not, of course, you can find me on LinkedIn. You can feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. If you have any questions to ask, you can also message me on LinkedIn. I'll try to answer your questions there. Okay. You can like our page. Okay, or to follow our news. Okay. So it's nice to nice to meet. I mean, to have all of you join me tonight. Okay. Hopefully it's a fruitful session. And hopefully, if you really do decide to join the CFA program and you are looking for a prep provider, you can consider us. If you are self-studying, no worries at all. Okay, I mean, of course, I wish you all the best, and it's always good to have more people taking up the CFA program, because in the end of the day, it helps you to move up in your career. Okay, and of course, it adds to the awareness that people have on the CFA program. All right, so I will call this session to an end. Thank you very much for attending this session. All right. Yeah, no problem. I mean, as for Geelong, I mean, there are also, I mean, you can find resources. I mean, there are resources on Analyst Forum I mentioned earlier, Analyst Forum, and also I think Reddit. If you are active on Reddit, there are some threads channels on Reddit on CFA as well. Okay, just have to Google hard for it. Okay, but yeah, I mean, glad to be able to provide information. Okay, bye bye, Jachin. See you. Okay, bye everyone. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye, Santan. Okay, thanks for attending the session today.